keep it dead everywhere.
My bitch got money, bought a car, money. My bitch ain't got a name, I bought a car named Sunny. Cold call cash, won't Gucci ass. Home for the holidays, I'm making dollars anyway. Fuck what you gotta say. Hey, pull the plug on the plug before the plug pull you. Lead overhead to 5032. Had a black sea ghost, and all you walking dead motherfuckers pour it out and make a toast. Huh? What?
That's from his ICP days. It kind of had a little carnival flair to it.
Well, a little bug bite. He's he does a wide range of stylistic things, and we can't play our typical intro song. We'll get to that later. Yeah. But that was the new single by Little Bug Bite. And welcome to From Behind the Barcast, the podcast for bartending, service industry, drinking in general. I'm Paxton Eugene. That's Clint, the Mayonnaise Marauder Moses, and we got Sunset Kelly on the ones and twos.
And real quick before we go somewhere, we were going to have Mir Ali, the owner of Lily's, on tonight, but there's just been a lot of stuff happening in the last 2 weeks, so we needed to clear some things, and he actually had an option of doing like a dinner tonight. He was like, "I'm just going to do that." I was like, "Yeah, do that. We got a lot of stuff," because it would have just been we would have given him our full undivided attention, Yeah,
and I'm glad it sort of worked out for the best because we got a lot to get to. It's been we're back, baby, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
And I'm super happy to be back, and there's a lot to get to. So it would have been a little truncated, his section, because we would have done him on the second half. So it's just really nice to be back. And we're back now after, we've had some things happen. One of the things, we'll get to the second one a little bit later, but one of the things was your boy got COVID again. And the thing about it was, so during the height of all the COVID stuff.
This time you didn't get it from tossing someone's salad. You got it like naturally.
Yeah, I got it naturally this time, because you can only toss so many salads, and then you get herd immunity.
Hopefully, it didn't hurt your taste of tossing salad.
Actually,
Can you imagine if I got COVID and I lost the taste for mayonnaise? What would I do with my stash?
If it some people would be like, I can't walk anymore, or I can't breathe anymore. I can't taste mayonnaise anymore.
Oh my God! Or it just tasted bad to me. Mayonnaise started tasting like Miracle Whip. Because the first couple of times,
salad dressing.
Yeah, the first couple of times I ate some, I'd be like, "Ooh, what the hell?" No, I throw that bottle of Duke's out, open up a new one. I'm in their kitchen with Kraft, Hellman's, Duke's.
You're making cocktails.
Yeah, come on, something's got to work.
So your boy, during the height of COVID, I never got it. I probably got tested like 10 times whenever they were doing like the drive-throughs at the CVS's and all that. So then last year around May, got it after a podcast. This year, 2 weeks ago, I worked on a Sunday night. Didn't feel great on Monday when we did the podcast. But then Tuesday, I was like, I have full-blown AIDS today.
You probably got it on Thursday.
Yeah, right.
Lars and I didn't have it. I mean, the two tests I took were old, and I had to hold a flashlight up to them to see the line. But the test line showed up, and I looked it up. It was like that line, that could just be light, but it will still show if you're COVID pregnant. Then I went and got another test, and it was like, you're fine.
The one that I had, it was kind of old, but the line showed up right away. I was like, yeah.
Well, the thing is, then once I find this out, and then for the next 6 days, I'm like, wait, do I have something in my throat, or am I dying too?
That's why I texted you. I was like, hey man, I got full-blown AIDS. Are you feeling okay?
Oh,
So yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad. So anyways, I had a fever for 2 days, and then for the next 10 days, it was a cough that was when you're when you dry heave from being stomach sick, and your chest is compressing, your ribs feel like they're breaking. This was from breathing. So I would breathe 30% of a breath, right, and I would have a reaction like a gags/heave reaction, and it felt like my ribs were crushing my lungs, but it was involuntary, and there was nothing coming up. It wasn't there was no movement. There was no phlegm going anywhere. So
you sounded like when the episode of Seinfeld where the dog and Kramer had the same cough. That's what your cough sounded like. You had that dry kind of cough. Because I was talking to you on the phone Friday. I was like, you don't sound bad. Then you would cough. I was like, ooh, that sounds real bad.
And it was an unsatisfying cough because nothing was moving around.
It sounded like if you had broken ribs, you didn't want to cough hard.
Exactly. Yeah. Because it felt like my ribs were broken. So I'm going through that, and I'm like, all right, I'm not going to work. I'm eating a very plain diet. I'm eating either chickens or things that come out of chickens. So it's chickens and eggs. So I go to work finally after 2 weeks on Saturday, and I get there. I was like, you know what? I'm going to crack a twisted tea just like I normally do. I took a sip of it. It was the worst tasting thing I've ever tasted. I was like, you know what? That's not a negative thing, I don't think. That's pretty positive that I won't be chugging twisted teas anymore.
So, like, it's not a bad taste. Like, I forget because I don't drink it very often, but I don't know if I said this on here, but when we went to go to Vidalia for my cousin's funeral, we stopped at a gas station, so we had to stop for something, we're almost to Vidalia, and I was like, I'm going to get a Powerade. And I was like, I'm going to get an alcoholic beverage. I'm going to a funeral. It's in the middle of the day. I might as well have a drink. My family can be a lot. I was like, and usually it's easier to drink for a family function. This one, too, so there's going to be a lot of sadness, and there's going to be, like, people I see at only funerals. So I was like, you know what? I'll get something. So I put it in a paper bag, and I got in the car with Sean and Charlotte, and I said, all right, what's in here? And so they spent quite a few guesses. There was no tea guess was ever there, and I was like, "Kita!"
Shut up.
And they were like, "Twisted tea." And I was like, It called to me.
They didn't even.
It did never even.
As much as they listened to the podcast, they didn't even surmise.
And Sean drinks twisted tea.
You know what? I probably wouldn't have guessed that either, honestly.
That's why I went for it. I was like, you know what?
I mean, if it calls to you,
Or more like a random gas station on the highway. So there's not a huge selection of. I wanted tall boy.
yeah.
And I was like, I
want a big can of
and
something.
I didn't want the classics. I was like, I want something a little different.
And also, you don't want to spend a lot of time perusing in a off the highway gas.
It's the one on 16. If you're from the area that's got the petting zoo, that used to be just like they used to just have like I think they had like
Oh yeah.
they had ostriches and emus I think for eggs and like meat, and then people's kids would go over there to the fence and pet them. And now, if you haven't been there in a while, it's a whole ass thing.
Really?
Like, they have like vehicles that are wrapped with like signage and stuff. Like,
oh, wow.
They've made a whole thing about it.
They went Tiger King with it.
Yes. I'm hoping someone will die there soon.
So then a little further on Saturday, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have a bullet and water shot. I drank that thing. I was like, this does not taste good. What is happening to me? A little bit later on, I grabbed a seltzer. Kind of okay. Not refreshing, not great.
Try this wine we're drinking here, and I'll talk about it while you do that. So what we're drinking is hey. Trying to hit the crack of the glass. A tailor-made red blend from California. Taylor is in like a guy that works on clothes, not like Taylor Gang.
Okay, and not like a golf club.
Yes. Yeah, it does not an unrelated thing. 14.1 alcohol percent. The red blend. It's Merlot, Cab, Petite.
14.1. That's a little higher than typical. Right?
So usually when you see 14% or higher, there's almost always going to be Zinfandel, Petite Syrah, or Syrah in there, because those things carry a heavier alcohol presence, especially Zinfandel. This has Zinfandel, Petite Syrah, and Syrah, but I think it's mostly Cab and Merlot. And I can taste the Zinfandel, but not like too much. It's real frisky too.
Got a little
Petulant.
Like, how does it taste? Does the wine taste okay to you?
The wine tastes fine, actually.
Okay.
It's definitely got like a.
Does it taste like ripe red and cocoa with a smooth, luxurious finish?
It's got a deep cherry taste for me.
Dark berries and vanilla, yeah.
I got something right. Yeah, drink out of it.
Drink out of my glass. I was about to make you drink out of the bottle. I don't know. He's not contagious.
He looked like he was about to reach for the bottle.
I didn't. I was like, does Kelly have a glass? I was gonna pour some in your hand. You can. So. Yeah, cheers, red wine. So it doesn't taste weird.
It does taste weird to me.
I'm not picking it over your crotch.
Velvety and smooth.
Yeah.
Coats the tongue.
I like the deep black cherry note. So I went to the P.O. box for the first time in a while the other day. And I think someone has looked at our Amazon wish list, because I got to the P.O. box, normal mail, and I was like, oh, Amazon package. I don't remember ordering anything. This was sent to us. It is a book called Semenology. It is a book
Seminology?
for cocktails with semen.
The Semen Bartender's Handbook.
Now, there was no return address on it, but I have a sneaking suspicion.
I know who it's from.
that I might know who it's
I know.
from.
I know.
All right, so let's save
Do
it
it
for
a
the
one. Do it a 1, 2, 3. Okay, we'll save it for the second half. I think I know who
save
it
it for
is.
the second
But
half.
I don't want to discuss the guess.
No, yeah, neither do I. Or we could
We
do
can
one,
say this one thing. It was most likely a man.
We can do 1, 2, 3 if you want to.
Do you want to do it right now?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
3.
Not
Studwell.
Jacobs.
Ah, all right. All right.
Okay.
All right. I'm leaning Studwell.
I'm leaning not Jacobs.
Where it's Amazon's, you can't see
Yeah, it just said fulfillment services.
Yeah, because you don't
and
get
it
the.
just
Because when somebody sends you something, you can like look at the return address. But I've also sent somebody and put a fake return address on there and be like, whatever, if I don't get it, they don't get it, they don't get it. I mean, how often do you got mail returned to you? Do you sit with a return address? Once, maybe?
But see, the reason
I guess
I
it's got a stamp
the
once.
reason I said wish list is because like you can give people shit off of their wish list, and it doesn't need to have a return thing or whatever.
That's
I
true.
was like, when did Clint put that on our Amazon wish list?
Seminology. I was like, seminology? It is from Paul Fautier
And
Fotenholler.
And if you thumb through it, it's pretty graphic in terms of there's dripping,
There's a drink called the Prostate Passion, Macho Mojito, Semen Rimmed Margarita. Semen rimming salt is 1 part semen, 2 part salt.
Okay, good. I'm glad to know.
Heavenly Cognac. That's just what is this going to drip slow through the cognac?
Is there an absinthe drink?
Semen enhanced abscess.
where
You put the semen on the sugar cube. Absolute semen. 1.5 vodka, 2 tablespoons fresh semen.
Is that for people in the Navy?
I think so. But see, like creamier eggnog doesn't say fresh semen. It could just be semen.
Yeah, it can be.
The milkman is coming. See, this doesn't have any semen in it. Oh, yeah, there is freshly melted semen.
You gotta take the time to freeze it first.
Yeah, I don't see any whipped semen in here.
Do they have anything mixed with a Fireball at all,
Not
or
yet.
cinnamon whiskey?
Gin and tonic, watermelon gin jizz, semen hemorrhage, orgasm on the beach, pina cum latte.
Do they at least have cum in a hot tub? Because I think that's an actual.
Lady to sim, yeah, cum in hot tub is an actual drink. Galliano cum shot, a shot of Fody, tequila cum shot, and
So nothing with Fireball.
no, but they do have the nutrition facts for semen back in the back of this.
Oh,
Carbs, 300 milligrams, 0.1% of your daily serving. Protein, 0.2% of your daily serving. Everything else
we've
is
been lied to.
zero.
We've been lied
Zero.
to.
So water, fructose, sugar, ascorbic acid,
Fructose.
calcium, chlorine, citric acid, creatine, deoxyribonucleic acid, DNA. That's what that is. But I was like, I said it, neither one you let them make this DNA, I guess. Glutathione, lactic acid, magnesium, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, pyrimidine, sodium, sorbitol, spermidine, vitamin B12, and zinc. I got almost every one of those words said appropriately.
Nearly there.
Now, give me something in Italian.
Oh,
And there's a lot of special thanks to this because this was on Daniel Tosh's show.
Well,
Neil Patrick Harris for being an inspiring role model. Stephen Fry for tweeting about my book. This is we're not going to make any of these drinks, but thank you.
what?
Well, we have to make them all separately. I don't want to drink your nut. You want to drink my nut? No.
no.
Does it specify? Does it have to come from your own?
No, because a large portion of the population drinks a lot of other people's semen.
Oh, that's true. That is true. That's science.
That's science.
Well, the reason I was
We got
asking
people that like semen, Kelly. Anybody?
Well,
Oh, hey.
the reason I was asking about Fireball is before I saw this myself, I came across this in the YouTube algorithm, and it was a person explaining someone had bought little mini bottles of Fireball,
What do you call those, Kelly?
Airplane bottles.
airplane bottles,
Me too.
and they had realized that they were only 11% alcohol or something like that. So then I noticed this. So, I saw it on YouTube, and then I noticed when I went to the store, literally the next day, like a convenience store, they had buckets of these little airplane bottles. I was like, oh, convenience stores can't sell liquor. What Fireball has done now is if you get the airplane bottles, if it just says cinnamon on there, then it's like a light liqueur that they can sell in convenience stores. If it says cinnamon whiskey on there, then it's the full.
A little liquor loophole.
I guess so, but they're just selling
There's
you.
a lot of I've seen convenience stores with like moonshine in them because I think they just do it until they get caught.
Well, I remember when South Carolina, when you bought like a fifth, it was a fifth of airplane bottles. They weren't selling, this is maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago.
I remember in South Carolina, we used to go to a bar to get drinks. You would get an airplane bottle.
So if you got like a Long Island tea, it cost you like $40 because
Yeah, because I remember when you go to the strip club.
There was a thing in South Carolina where they didn't have the bigger bottles. They had to pour.
Yeah,
and if I'm wrong, leave it in the comments below. But
Yeah.
I think I just know. I mean, maybe it was an hour thing because like we'd go to the strip club after the bars here closed. They would stay open and serve booze till like six in the morning. Only on Fridays and the Saturday. They got serving booze at midnight on as soon as Sunday started back in this time because you'd go to what's the all new strip club here, Temptations, and it's BYOB.
yeah,
You bring whatever you want in there.
cooler in there.
Liquor.
Yeah,
beer?
because if it was all nude, they couldn't serve booze inside there, but somehow you could bring a cooler in.
Yes.
I've only been in there twice, and one time the stripper at the table next to us fell asleep. She was trying to like seduce us, and she was gross, and we were like, "Oh," she was like, "I'm gonna just be here if you need me," and she put her head on the arm of the table and passed out.
Twerked herself to sleep.
Went back in the back for 15 minutes, came back and had way too much energy, and I was like, "Whoa." She wasn't a cocaine gal, okay? This was something a little stronger.
A little something different.
Might have came out of a bathtub.
Did remember the other week we were talking about the large gentleman that you had ran into, and
The one that ran from the popo.
yeah, he
And
ran
got
from
away for show.
he ran from the popo because Darren wanted to go for show, and
Yeah.
he went toe to toe with the
And
bro.
hit the flow.
And he hit the flow. So we were talking about how the bar is set so low for service industry people. Like they're like, any sort of nicety at all that your customers give you, it's like, oh, this guy's great. It's just like saying, hey, my buddy's dog, his Chihuahua, it didn't bite me today. It's a great dog.
Yeah.
So
I didn't have diarrhea today. My stomach's better.
Great dog.
Yeah.
So Danny Masterson, Scientologist and That 70s Show alum, he was just convicted of some SA.
Of rape.
Of
Twice.
rape and drugging, rape, whatever. So
Oh, he's drugging rape too? I didn't know if I could remember. I didn't get deep into it like
Yeah.
you did. And to see what kind of rape it was.
it was drugging.
Okay.
The bad kind.
Well, there's unfortunately there's levels of rape. There's date rape, when you kind of the
Bad.
person. There's drugging rape, a little bit worse,
And then there's Scientology drugging.
and then there's children rape. That's worse than the other two.
So Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis write a letter to the judge, like a character letter that I don't think that they thought would be published to the public. And what they cited as their reason to tell the judge not to give him the full sentence was he was always really nice to the staff. He was always really nice to craft services, the grips.
He would even bring some girls drinks.
And it reminded me of so James Corden, the old late night host, and how shitty it was widely known in New York. Like anytime he walked into a restaurant, all the staff were like, "God damn it!"
Yeah, because he was a bad tipper. He was a pain in the ass, and he would
Always a pain in the ass. He made a big scene about everything. He always, just made a shit about something. So for them to cite this guy being nice to people.
They're getting paid to work with him.
There's no measure of anything.
Exactly. And it also reminded me, way back in the day, there was this MTV show. I don't think it was True Life, but it was something like that. And they followed around Tommy Hilfiger's daughter.
Oh, I've never heard of this.
It was one of their bigger shows, but at one point they followed around Tommy Hilfiger's daughter. And the thing that I retained, that I remember from that show was, she said, one of the
Rich girls.
One of the things my dad instilled into me was be nice to the help, no matter what.
Yeah.
And it seems like such a to have to be taught that, but it's nice that he taught them that, being nice to the help. It seems like that's going out of your way, being nice to someone who is serving you or someone who is
It should
doing
be
something.
automatic.
Yeah.
I kind of think it should be automatic.
Yeah, I mean, it should
You should
come
be nice to
naturally,
other
like,
people,
yeah.
generally, if you can. Unless
Generally, I
they're
think
driving
you
really
should.
slow down the road. Or
I
something.
wouldn't qualify it by being in the service industry, like just in general when you meet people.
Yeah.
Well, anyone who's that you come in contact with, that you're working with, in terms of they're doing something for you, you're doing something for them.
Right.
I mean, my car died the other night when I left work, and I had to get someone to help me. It was a whole process. But I asked the first three people I saw, I was like, "Hey, can you push this car out so I can jump it off?" And they were like, "You don't have to. The next group will come by." And they're like, "Oh no, we got you," because they were nice Southern boys. They wanted. They didn't. First they kind of looked at each other. I was like, "Look, it's going to take. All I need you to do is get out of the spot, and I'm good." And I couldn't get in gear.
You know those homeless dudes that you pass, and you're like, look at these vagrant pieces of shit. If you'd have passed them with your car and like, hey, I need a push, they'll be the first ones on it.
You know why? We think I'll give some cheddar cheese.
No,
yeah.
understood. But
And I
still.
would have probably had here's
Yeah,
a dollar each of
I'd
you.
be happy to.
Yeah. But these guys have to for $1 a piece. And then they go, I was like, I can't get in gear. They're like, we're just going to rock it. We'll get it over there. I was like, no, that's not how any of this works. Thankfully, the car in the spot next to mine. So basically, I'm just fucking this out the way real quick. So basically, what I'm trying to do, I'm having a rough week, more on that in a minute. But it's the end of a long night. I'm the last person at work. So I get there and my car's dead. I'm like, shit. I went back to work.
Your CRV, not the Beamer.
Yeah, CRV. And I asked my coworker, I got my boss like, hey, is your husband going to get you? She goes, no, I drove. I'm parked on Liberty. I'm like, well, let me go ask the kitchen manager. He's like, which car are you driving today? And I was like, the Honda. He's like, all right, take my keys. And gave me the keys to his 2022 Camaro, which is dope. It's like, his what? 2022 Camaro.
Oh, yeah.
His Camaro?
Camaro.
You just didn't say it. Right?
Camaro?
It's Camaro.
Camaro?
Where are we from? We're from South Georgia. It's Camaro.
And so, but he's parked on River Street. So I have to drive all the way down on around to get up the ramp. You have to go past the tunnel on River Street to get to this ramp.
No, that's
Where you work today.
Where I work today.
Let's go.
It was Friday. I just said it was Friday. I get back to the car. I'm like, all right, these guys can't help me. I'm like, all right, well, shit, I don't know what to do. Maybe we can get the cord to reach the car. And then all of a sudden I hear, and there's 3 fire trucks coming right to where I'm parked. So I have to get back in this dude's car, back down. And finally I'm like, I give up. Fire trucks are between where I can get another car there. So I'm like, I'm just going back to my car, get my book bag, take a cab home, and just deal with it tomorrow. And the car next to me, I saw people get in the car. And I'm like, oh, perfect. They can't get away. So I put the jumper cables up, and I'm like, hey, can you help me? And this is just a rarity.
It's a trap.
You don't see a lot of like hood black dudes driving a Volkswagen Beetle, but this was happening. And I was like, hey, you guys, hold on a second. And he got in the car, and they had to-go food, and he drove off. Like, yeah, I'm like, where's he gonna go? And he got around the fire truck and took off. And I was like,
You got played, boy.
but the thing, now my spot next to me is open, so I called Vinny. He was like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, I'm at work. I was like, can you come help me? And he came jump me off, and on the way home. And the piece that broke my car, my brake lights were staying on. It was a piece of plastic about this big around. Cost me $5 on Amazon, and it just dry rotted and fell off the brakes. The brake lights were always on.
Oh, so that's why your battery died?
Mm-hmm. That's it. $5. And I didn't know what to do. I called a buddy of mine, the mechanic. He's like, oh, this is the piece. This is what you need to order. Get it. I'll put it on for you. It'll take about 2 minutes.
Same thing happened in my Volvo. It was a fuse.
Yeah.
Didn't
I checked the fuses.
Didn't know it was busted. It was just draining. It was like a little check engine light
Yeah.
because it was saying, hey, change the fuse. And I just never noticed the little light was on.
Don't you ignore those lights? You know what's been hard for people to ignore? Because they can't stop talking about it. We won. Missed 2 field goals. Should have been like a bigger win than it was, but people are freaking out about it. They're like, Mike Bobo's back. I'm like,
and you still owe me $5, by the way.
I would do that was taking me.
I got to work that Saturday, and people were so down at that moment. And then the missed field goal, people were like, it's over. Georgia's done.
I'm like,
forever. I'm like, hey, man, just
it's a game. We're playing the best quarterback in the conference. Yeah. Defense is really the problem. And the thing is, with the way the clock's moving down, people are losing. Like an average of like 8 to 12 plays a game aren't happening. That's a drive and some change sometimes. And so we only had the ball once in the first quarter, twice in the second quarter, 3 times in the third quarter. And
just
then,
had to get calibrated, baby.
And the defense couldn't get out the field. You're like blaming the offensive play calling. It's like we're the same amount of play calls basically that we did last year with their offensive coordinator.
I just love how many.
Calm down.
I just love how many coaches are at the bar every time I work.
Dude, it's crazy. There's so many coaches in this.
I know, and I don't know how they haven't renewed their contracts with these big.
It's weird.
Big D1 schools. It's kind of crazy.
It's the same kind of coaching method of it's a doomsday coaching.
Oh, yeah.
It's over.
It's over, baby. It's over for us for the entire season.
They're like, oh, we can't. This is not. We can't. It's untenable. We can't keep doing this. It's like, look, we've got some time until we play some powerhouses. We just played South Carolina. We got a week. We got Auburn. Auburn's not great. We're gonna win almost every game, if not every game, but. Calm down. The new quarterback. We're missing. Also, Georgia today, as of today, has the most injuries our current medical staff has ever seen. The head guy been there like 16 years.
Oh wow.
So we're beat up.
Yeah. Still pulled it out though. Come on.
Yeah. You mean sometimes your dick's beat up, but you still pull it out.
You still pull it out, right?
So yeah. You know who loves Georgia football though?
Let's get to it.
We're gonna. You come on over here.
I'm coming over there.
It's gonna be me for a minute.
All right. Expound.
So I posted we were going to do a podcast last week because we had a death in the family, And my buddy Shay, who was on the podcast, Shay Knight, passed away suddenly last week. And it's been a week for me. Like, today's the best I've felt since last Tuesday morning when I found out. It sucks. And if another motherfucker asks me how he died, I'm going to kick him in the dick because it doesn't matter how he died. It matters that he lived.
Why is that the first question, man?
It's morbid curiosity, and certain people can, you can ask.
No, but
Kelly can ask, but it's not like
I didn't fucking ask you.
No, but I can text people that like I'm barely your Facebook friend. Like, you're messaging me on Facebook, like, oh my God, what happened? It's the only question you're asking, like, how are you? If you come in with a bunch of other stuff and then how are you? I'm glad I had like a drink and a half before I did this. Like, I understand you. People want to know that, but it's rude. It just happened, and it shouldn't open with, "Oh my God, what happened? How did he die?" There could be a lot of other things, and then you can get into that. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't drug related or an accident or anything. It was probably it was a medical issue, not brought on by anything but by being almost 50.
Yeah, he had just had surgery as well.
He's had surgery as well. He had a hip thing that just happened.
It doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't really matter. It matters that he lived. If you're listening to this and you knew Shay and you want to come support a week this Sunday at noon at Daffin Park on the, I'm not going to Magellan you, the northwest corner of the park.
Northwest corner.
But the corner, it's the corner of Waters and Washington is where we're going to congregate somewhere right there. If it's raining, I'll figure some shit out. I made a Facebook post about it. I'll addend to it. And then we're going to gather at my friend Larry's house, and I'll give the address out to anybody that would like it then and there. You come bring a chair. It's Daffin Park. There's no seats in the middle of the park. And we're going to talk for a little while. And as Shay would want us to do, we're going to wrap it up before the Falcons game starts. Because I keep telling people, they're like, well, what about this and this? I'm like, I'm just acting like what Shay would want, not what anybody else thinks is good or bad. We're just going to do what Shay would want.
Everyone has their opinion on what they think is right or wrong. It's like, no, you were his best friend.
Yeah. I know what's right.
know.
I get to make the calls here.
I think it should defer to you
on
making the calls of what Shay would want.
Because his family doesn't want to do anything. They don't know what happened to him. So, like, I'm doing this. Me and my friends are doing this. And so, and the thing is, all my close friends that are like all his other close friends, we're not bickering with each other.
Yeah.
Other people are bickering. So I'm like, you don't get an opinion on this matter.
And see, the thing is that anyone that would want to be involved is because they're your friend.
Yeah.
Then they understand.
And then there's been a little pushback for people on the far outside of it. Well, what about this?
Yeah, but they don't fucking matter.
It doesn't matter.
Your friends matter.
And I'm so direct. Our boy Jason, who also worked with Savannah B Company with Shay, he goes, Clint, sometimes someone's got to be a dick in the group, and that's why we got you here. Because I'm not afraid to be direct about it. This is death, and it sucks, and you want to celebrate the person, so you don't need to pitter patter sometimes. And when it's serious, you don't have to be nice all the time. You just be like, please, like, you can direct. I mean, I'm the same. If someone's experiencing death and they need something, and they're not 100% delighted, I don't give a shit. Someone just died.
And what you've experienced so far of people trying to push things in certain directions where they think they know what's best when you're the person that knows what's best.
Yeah.
It's pushed you to be as dickish as you have to be.
Yeah, I don't mind at all.
No, I know you don't mind, but it's like it doesn't have to be this bad.
No, just and like,
but they push you to.
And I want to give a shout out to the 200 plus people that had liked to enjoy this post. Hundreds of pictures were posted. It's been awesome. It sucks. It's been awesome. There's the outpouring. Very few grief co-opting. Now I have stayed pretty much off Facebook because of it. Like, I tried to get on there the next day after I made this post to like some of the stuff, look at the pictures, and was like, 10 minutes in, and I'm crying. I cried during 5,000 Candles in the Wind. I've been on a Parks and Rec thing, and the first episode with Little Sebastian's dying, I took 3 notes, and I was like, oh my God.
That's better than one candle in the wind.
I know. 5,000. He needs to be 5,000 times better than Candles in the Wind. Candle in the Wind, he goes, he was better than one Candle in the Wind? 5,000. And so, Shay, we're not going to play that at your funeral. We're going to play Elton John because I came home, so he died. Everything went down Tuesday. And so we got together with the boys. We went and talked to his mom. We had a fun little adventure that Shay would have appreciated. I went, as Shay would have wanted. Shay did to Paxton. I went to my buddy Jason's house. It took me an hour to get my shit together and get out of the house. I was like, look, I brought some weed with me. He goes, all right, roll a blunt. Because Shay would have wanted us to smoke a blunt before we had to go do what we had to do.
Yes.
And then his sister, I messaged her on Instagram to get her to call me because I didn't know if she knew, and I didn't want her. She's younger. I think it was the first week of school for SCAD or first day of school for her. And so I was like, hey, where are you? And she's like, oh, I'm downtown. I'm like, oh, I'm right by there, because she didn't sound like she knew what was going on. By the time I got to her, somebody had called her and told her. So it was nice. So I get her in the car with me, and she's his half sister. So we go to Shay's mom's house, not her mom's house. And so Jason and Larry are with us. Larry and Shay grew up together in Bacon Park. So I said, we're going to go to Shay's mom's house. He goes, does she still live in Bacon Park? I said, yeah. He goes, cool. So he goes to the house that Shay grew up in. And I go to the house where I think is the house his mom lives in. Now, I haven't been there in a minute, probably pre-COVID. So it's been a while. And so I'm not, and I'm also high as fuck. And I am literally almost where the house ends up being. He calls me, he goes, hey, I'm right outside the house. I'm like, oh, cool. He goes, I'm on this street. And I'm like, oh, that's a block over. So I go to that street. I drove down the street like 4 times. I'm like, hey, where are you? I'm in the car, almost in the middle of the road. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, maybe he's off a block. So I go 1 block in each direction. And then I'm back on the main street. And I mean, I was back on the escalator like 7 times to the point that I finally stopped at a stop sign. I was like, I don't want to be on this road again. And she and I looked at each other. We both just started dying laughing. Because that's what Shay would have thought it was hilarious. We're lost. But
y'all are driving circles around
his mother lived off of Skidaway, which is a street in Savannah, which is kind of a busy street. She lived on the other side of the street, like 5 houses from the main street. She moved across the street and over 1 block. So so I finally get to the house he's at. I'm like, maybe I'm on the wrong side of the street. I'm like, this is not it at all. And he's like, where are you now? So I finally get him. I'm like, yo, and he's like getting mad. I'm like, this is funny, okay? This is a shit situation. This is funny. And so he finally called another friend that he grew up with. He goes, no, she's on this street. So I'm like, oh. And I'm like, it's one of these few houses. I know it's on this first part of the block. And we pulled to a house, and I'm like, I think this is it. There's like 5 cars in the driveway with George's tags. And as we're driving by it, another car pulls up, and 2 people get out and go in. I'm like, okay, this is a Tuesday evening.
Must be it. Yeah.
This has got to be it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I think this is it, but I'm not sure. I'm like, I'll go knock on this damn door. I don't care. And it's not it. It's not it at all. Dude's cool as shit. Didn't know who his mom was. And so finally, the other guy that had told us which street it was on goes, oh, I got on Google Earth, found the house because he knew what it looked like.
Oh, looked at like the photo of the house?
Yeah, it was like, this is the house.
So the guy that answered the door, because you figured like there's a lot of people coming to this house.
That's what I'm thinking. In the house,
so you're like,
was.
even if I don't know the dude,
I was
right?
Like,
when
this house or this house? It's one of these 3 houses. But is this neighborhood in Paradise Park? Every house looks the goddamn same.
Yeah.
Like for the most part. So I'm like, and the guy was cool. He'd have it on Georgia Street. There was I don't what they were having like a pregame party 5 days earlier. What? But I was like, hey, and I was like, well, thanks, man. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Am I right?
Yeah. Like, okay, cool. We're just gonna go back over here. They were like 2 houses down there, and I'm like, I'm not sure it's the house. And Jason's like, I'm going to the door. I was like, I can use the bathroom. I'm like, fine. And we got there, and I'm like, all right. And I'm gonna call his mom because I don't give a shit. His mom sitting on the couch reading a book by herself. I'm like, where's everybody at? She's like, well, I just left the house, and I just didn't know if I wanted to be alone or not. I'm like, I don't want to be alone. You I either want to be drunk or with somebody else, or maybe both. But you just don't. It's hard being alone. Some people are different than others. Yeah. But I'm sitting there, and we're there for like 10 minutes, and all of a sudden she kind of perks up, looks at the window. She goes, "Oh, it's fine. It's just a neighbor." And I was like, no one said, "Oh, what's that?" There's just a car backing out and driving off. And so I looked down at the table, and there's a pair of binoculars behind a pillow, so you couldn't see the binoculars from the front door. And I said, "Oh, you're in the neighborhood watch?" And she's like, "I mean, I look out the window pretty much." And she's like, "Oh, there are a lot." And I'm like, why are the binoculars behind the pillow? She goes, well, somebody walks up to the door. I don't want them to see the binoculars. I'm like, and I said, well, fuck it. How often have you found any kind of malfeasance in the neighborhood? She's like, well, never really. And I'm like, has anybody ever walked up the door? She's like, no. I'm like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, just got to be safe.
I said, do you have outdoor cameras? She goes, no. I'm like, what are you?
You know what my roommate Travis calls that? Eye hustling.
Yeah. You're like, just looking out the window.
Why you eye hustling? And if you're eavesdropping, that's ear hustling.
I knew that one. Well, thankfully I got to that without my eyes hustling.
Dude, you did really
cried.
well. Yeah.
It's the alcohol, and then I hit the bowl once. No, because it's so much. If I'm just drinking, I can cry like a baby. But when I'm a little stoned, it's kind of I'm so ADD. I can kind of jump over it for a second or two. But Elton John. So I come on Tuesday night, and I've had a few drinks. I got a ride home from my buddy Larry's house. We went and had drinks during the day. Then I went home and walked the dog, did some stretching, did some icing, and I thought, oh, we're all going to take a break from drinking. And when I got over there, I went, oh, I took a break from drinking. Everybody else
collectively, we're not taking.
So my buddy Troy's there, and he's going to drive, so he's had 2 drinks, and everybody else is a lot of sandwich. And so we were there for a little bit, and I came home and got on the tequila a little bit. Before I walked in the door, though, I keep the radio playing for my dog on a kind of classic music station. I walk in.
Yacht Rock.
Elton John, your song is playing. One of Shay's favorite songs. And you want a song to lay over a confused black lab and cry to. That's what, because I ran in the house. Usually I play with him for a second and I get on the couch with him, and I was like, up here now. up here now. And he's like, oh, we're doing this. And I'm like, nope. And I am death squeezing you and crying on you. And he's like, he kind of struggles for a minute. He wants the
He's like, I thought we were playing.
Usually it's like I get his ears and I rub on his belly. And he's just like, and I was like, oh. And then he kind of was like, and he kind of just sit there. And like finally, I kind of like get up and the song changed it to, thank God it was something like completely obscure and normal, like Tutti Frutti, we're so whatever.
Yeah,
Booty.
not your song.
Not one of the saddest Elton John songs. So I'm home. I think almost all day Wednesday. Thanks, shout out to my job for just calling and go, we're going to give you 2 days off. Thank you. And dinner at my dad's house Thursday night. Put the dog in there. Come in, Elton John. But it's Saturday night's the night for fighting.
Hey, that's all right. That's all right. It is all right for fighting.
Not too bad. Come back in Friday after. Okay, this is why my night sucked ass Friday. I'm the closer. I come to work, and this is a little PSA to people. If you know someone you work with has had a death in their family or someone this close to them, when they first come in, if you work in an industry where it's not in the hospitality industry where you have to be nice to people, don't be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry for your loss, going for the hug. I'm coming in and trying to like game plan and game face to deal with customers, and then you're making me sad again. And there was most of the staff did not do that, but there's a couple of younger girls just don't know that. The truth on that, the move is, you doing all right? Cool. Like one girl goes, hey, can I hug you? That's much better than coming at me with it. She goes, look, I don't want to do anything. She's older. She goes, you want to hug? And I was like, we can do this Christian side hug. That's it. I just don't want to think about it. Because like I'm trying to like stand by myself and do stuff. And they're like, are you okay? I'm like, look, I'm saving all of my good, all the little bit of good I've gotten my hungover ass to talk to the people I have to talk to. And then in the night, like 5 people were like, oh my God, we're so sorry. So then all that happens. And I go back to a car. My car's dead. I've been functioning on very little sleep. Last night I finally got 7 hours of sleep. Or I went to sleep at 4:30 this morning. I slept from about halfway through the Cowboys game to 11 p.m. last night, which is a super good move. You know, sleeping about 5-6 hours in the middle of the day. And then, anyways, I'm tired. I want to go home. Car's dead. I'm like, damn it. Do I start drinking out here right now downtown? Whatever. But I went through a half gallon of tequila in 72 hours.
Well,
filters.
Especially at work, the move is if you have a coworker going through something, you say, hey, you okay? We can talk later.
Yeah.
Because
a lot of that was nice.
Typically, someone's coming into work. It's a really great distraction for you to come into work.
That's what I wanted.
And focus on work and not have people be like, hey, so do you want to talk right now?
Because I told you I've been on the phone.
Yeah.
I've been on the phone literally half of the hours of all day. So 12 hours a day.
It's literally just being, hey, I'm here.
Yeah. But people, I'm a talker.
When you want to talk, we can talk.
But I've got people that want to check on me, people that want to talk. And then I got to kind of, and I almost want to take a 10-minute clip of me just talking and be like, hey, I'm going to play this for the first 10 minutes of conversation. If you have any questions after that, we can talk about it then, because I don't want to keep rehashing it. Because I told Charlotte something. She goes, you told me that the other day. I'm like, look, I've told a lot of people a lot of shit in the last couple of days. I don't know what I'm telling you.
Yeah, I can't
remember all of it.
Yeah.
I've been drinking a lot. I've been smoking a lot of weed.
I don't want to repeat myself.
I'm not sleeping well. I've been fucked up because I finally worked out on goddamn Monday and was like, hell yeah, back's feeling good. Got to get it this week. And I was like, well, no, here you go. So, but on the second half, we'll get on something that happened at work that really distracted me in a crazy way that I just didn't see coming.
You never do you?
Unlike this book of semenology over here.
Hey, we'll see you in the second half. Hey guys, Paxton here. I hope you're enjoying the show. And if you are, there's a few simple things that you can do that will really help us out. Number one, whether you listen on Spotify, Apple, Google, or wherever, you can drop us a rating and a review if you haven't already. Positive or negative, we'd love to hear from you. And the more ratings and reviews that we receive, the more we'll be put in front of new audiences. Also, if you listen on Spotify, you can easily share episodes to your Instagram stories. If you watch us on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You might not be. And finally, why not shoot us an email with any service industry or just general stories that you'd like us to share? We always love hearing from you, and we love using your stuff. The email is FromBehindTheBarcast@gmail.com. Can't wait to hear from you, and enjoy the second half of the show.
Hey, right. We're back.
Hey, welcome back.
Speaking of coming back, let's back it in one more time.
Oh.
Sometimes you got to back in, and you got to back in for quite a few things. We've gotten some feedback on the backing in. Thanks out to Joe, who goes, I don't care if it's the Huckapoo's parking lot or a crowded garage, I'm backing in. That's right, Joe, you're backing in, baby. But you know who else is backing in? Shout out to Hannah, one of the listeners of the podcast. An episode named after Hannah, the Blue Chew Booty Blues. Heard some really old guy was on here. She made a Facebook comment about, or a post about girls having to sit and wait in the car while guys back into parking spaces. And I promptly responded with, I said, you're complaining about guys backing in. You have to wait to get out of the car because you're hungry to go into Chili's. I'm going to go ahead and throw out on a limb here. That guy waited a hell of a lot longer for you to get ready to go out than you did for him to back in.
Shots
And
fired.
if he's going to back in, maybe it's because he's going to have a few drinks. Yeah, it might be a little safety idea there. So, ladies, don't even try that one.
Literally today, I go to the local grocer, the IGA, and I began to back in.
The Igamai.
So my normal spot wasn't there.
There's only 14 in the front and like 12
Exactly,
on the side.
yeah, and I have my one spot. So I go to back in, but as I went to back in, I noticed that the car that I was going to back in next to had kind of went a little closer to the line than I would have liked.
Yeah.
So as I go to back in, I see there's a spot right in front of me that I can pull straight up to. So I bailed and pulled straight up into the spot.
I mean, it's not a hard lot to leave. I've got back in sometimes, pulling sometimes. If it's summer and it's busy, you can do that loop by the spots in the corner. I'll do it there. But one time I tried to do that, but there was I can only describe it as a stretch couch car. It was a truck, and they converted the entire truck bed into couches on. It was two back-to-back couches.
Oh, God.
You could sit in the back of the truck, and it had like a little rail put up, and I was like, I don't hate this.
Yeah,
I don't know how in the fuck it's legal.
Is that a parade vehicle or something?
I'd never seen it before, and I was like, okay, well, it's not from around here because I'd have seen it. But like, so if there's not, maybe they drove it from wherever in Alabama they came from, or northern Florida.
Yeah, because you have anyone sitting in your tailgate or whatever,
Yeah,
you're probably going to get pulled over.
but you can sit in the tailgate, especially in Georgia. You sit back there, but there's not they don't have that 2-foot border of like you can't just roll out of the damn thing. So it had like a bar up, and like maybe a second bar. And there were some dudes. There were some guys you would expect sitting in it. I think
You weren't surprised by the clientele that was sitting inside.
no, they were shirtless with pants with belts on. Like I could see you're on the beach, man. You ain't got to have a shirt on a lot of times.
They were
but if you're
sovereign
wearing
citizens.
shorts with a belt. Boxers, if you're on the beach with belt and boxers on, you
Ooh, belt and boxers on
All
the
right.
beach.
might as well have socks and shoes on, you fucker.
All right, solid question. Bathing suit, underwear, no underwear.
Oh, if it's got the inside underwear in it, that's fine, but no underwear.
Yeah, I mean,
I've never-
a
no
nut
underwear
a nut
ever.
net is one thing. I get that, but why would you wear it? If you're a dude, why would you wear boxer briefs under your bathing suit?
Yeah, that defeats the whole purpose.
Right.
I mean, okay, if you're wearing tighty whities, I guess because you want like extra layer of protection, well, you can buy bathing suits with extra layer of protection there. But I'm free flagging with board shorts on most
That's
of
what
the
I'm
time.
saying. The board shorts are enough. Like,
Yeah.
The reason you buy board shorts is because they dry quickly.
Yeah.
So if you got your outer layer drying quickly and you got your tighty whities or your boxers on underneath,
Just stuck to you.
yeah,
All right.
what's the point? Unless you have a really tiny peener and you're trying to cover it up whenever.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You think it's mostly a small dick move?
I mean, that's the only thing that I could.
Well, I mean, a girl wearing a thong bikini's not wearing thong underwear under her thong bikini.
I'll figure that out for myself.
the
Well,
layer's
yeah, I
already
mean,
there.
Put it to the test.
Yeah.
I get it. But
The layers are.
And if they're wearing that, we can. You'll be okay in the board shorts, buddy. This girl's got on she's got on a square inch of fabric stretched around her body.
And the thing is, you wearing all those extra layers, that's the people that drown down here. Everyone.
I'm just going to say that there's no swim team members out there doing this. There's nobody playing water polo hanging out there with their boxer shorts
Michael
on.
Phelps ain't got no tidy whities on underneath them Speedos, baby.
Let's get really high and forgot he had on the tidy whities.
Speaking of getting really high, I just wanted to mention this because it's a really positive, but
Positive for you, negative for others, maybe?
positive. Well, sort of negative for me too because of the panic attack that came along with it. But
Oh, yeah.
when we had Shay on the podcast, that was the last person I got high with. And,
Yeah.
I got high on the podcast, which people have smoked plenty on the podcast, and
As I am right now.
as Clint's doing right now, and I never partake because I know that I have panic attacks. But when Shay was here, I was like, you know what, I'm going to hit that blunt.
So you're saying in honor of Shay, you want a panic attack?
I will skip the panic attack this time. So I get high,
Come on, it's content.
and
Shay worked at Savannah Bee
Shay
Company.
worked at Savannah Bee Company, so
We're
we're
talking
sitting
about
here.
about tea.
We're trying to be
And honey and stuff?
trying to be an interview show. You know, I was like,
And
well,
so Vinny was on the ones and twos. So the blunt is going to go around the room, right? Yeah. It's me, Shay, you, and Vinny's over there where Kelly is now.
And we're all chief. I joined in.
Well, the thing is, no, you faked. The first time you were like, it's gonna be a bit. I'm gonna fake like I'm gonna hit it, but I'm not going to. And so you did that, and then you handed it to Vinny. And when Vinny gave it back to you, you went. And I was like, because Shane and I were talking, and we were like, oh!
It was a bit to fake it while on camera, but then off camera, I actually hit it.
And then Shane and I were like, we're like second Friday, we're like, damn!
If you could revisit the video, it was like, what the fuck?
And then Paxton was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So then, I'm going through a little bit of a thing, and I was like, okay, think of a good question. We're interviewing this guy. He works at a bee company.
He's high as shit, too.
High as a bee's ass.
Shane and I smoked 2 blunts on the podcast, I think. I think we took one in and maybe one picture.
There was a lot more smoking going on than what I partake in. I took like two little.
I think you went, and that was it. But I think you were still the highest one on the podcast.
100% the high. 100%.
Because Vinny was like, I don't want to smoke too much. I'm doing production. And I was like, I just can't smoke too much. And Shane was like, well, I can't. Watch this.
Shay could outsmoke anyone, probably.
No guy.
Well,
look, when we got together with Shay and Martin, okay, it was a contest nobody planned or asked for.
So
but then I think Shay realized though about halfway through with Martin.
So you know how when
Shay goes, the more you smoke with Martin, the more he's going to over talk on you.
You're super high and you're looking around the room and you're trying to seem like you're a human. So I'm not hearing the words coming out of anyone's mouth. I'm just like nodding yes or no. Like, yeah, I'm still here. I'm a human. I'm understanding the English words that are coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, think of a good question, man. Like, this is your time. This is the time. And I was like, hey, Shay. So for like every acreage of a bee's lifespan where it travels to get pollinated from plants and they come back to produce it in their honeycombs with the beeswax, how many gallons of honey would you think would be produced per acre of bees land mass?
That sounds like a workbook question from elementary school.
But, like, we didn't have the numbers to figure this out, and Shay was like, "What?"
Shay literally goes, "Excuse me, what?"
I think you may have made Shay a little unhired. He was like, "I don't understand the question."
In my head, I was like, "Man, killed that question."
And the next one was like, what's the circumference of a bee stinger on a juvenile bee? I'm like, good God.
So then it digresses to, do you like honey?
Remember we were drinking cocktails with honey in it? What's your favorite kind of black sage honey?
Does honey bottle well and does it last for a long time? I hear you guys make beeswax lipstick out of it. What advantages does that have?
That would have been a good question. What are the advantages of beeswax lipstick and lip gloss versus what do you think a bee's favorite color is? Actually, that may be more important still.
So a hummingbird flaps its wings 1,000 times per minute. How often do you think a honeybee flaps its wings while it is taking care of queen bee?
But only when he's Mike Wallace.
Only when he's within 5 meters of the queen bee, farther away on the follow-up question.
And does its flutter speed affect the other bees around it and how they approach the queen?
How many flaps does it do in a lifestyle if it dies by getting hit by a semi-truck? Like, what the? Jesus Christ.
Does honey become naturally sweet because the bees are sweet? If they're nice bees, is the honey sweet?
Yeah. Is it based on how cool they could be?
If they're mean bees, does the honey not taste as sweet?
Shay did this thing called we do the quote. We do our little. It's the quote of the week.
Ding.
And this is not going to be a quote. This is going to be a shout out to Shay. So Shay used to do this thing called he had a quote of the day book, and every day he would try to find something quotable and write it down. Now the time Shay and I lived together, so I'm 5 out of 7 days a week, 'cause I'll say some funny shit here and there, and so
you have your moments.
Yeah, so one of them was one of our coworkers. She's very nice, not very bright. She said, "Let her rip, tater chip." One day, we were like, "All right," and then one day I think I was breaking up with a girl. No, my buddy Wes needed to break up this damn girl. This girl sucked, and he still persisted. Let's talk shit about her on the Patreon. I got plenty of that. So I was like, you guys got to go. I was like, sometimes when you don't want to burn a bridge. Sometimes when you burn a bridge, you want to burn it with a blowtorch. So the bridge is gone.
That's
son.
great, yeah.
Yeah, and so
I
wish I could find that book because he found it. This was before he got engaged and married. divorced, moved back down here, and so it was a long time. And when he first moved back down here, we found it in his stuff, and like it was beaten to pulp, and there was probably like I think made it for about he probably got in like 250 quotes in a year. And it went down. It started because of Chuck Norris jokes.
So he stayed on it.
Yeah. I mean,
literally
not every day, but he'd
Yeah.
he'd write it down, and put it in his pocket or something. Then he'd get home and look at it, and like he'd had 2 or 3 of them. And sometimes you just have one, you're like, that's it today.
Yeah.
You hear a quote, that's so quotable.
And he wrote it in an analog notebook, right?
Yes. Yeah. It took him a long time to get on an analog. You know what I mean? I don't know what that means.
I'm an analog guy.
Yeah, you're pretty analog. You're analogous to a lot of things.
Analogous. Well, I know.
Oh, that's one I had. I had the only Duke I love is Mayo.
Ayo. But there's one thing that Shay never, ever was.
Oh shit, it's the Karen of the week. It's the Karen of the week.
Oh shit. It's been a couple weeks since we've been here. Strangely, my Karen is it's kind of an anomaly because it was a double negative that created a positive. If that's
yeah, that's not a thing. Yeah, ask Shay. That's a big company guy if you don't want.
Haven't had a situation like this before that I remember currently, but this literally just happened to me the first day I was back at work after 2 weeks of being out. So this past Saturday, it's my first day back at work, bartending. I went in on Thursday to run food just to get my sea legs back, and I changed one keg and was completely out of breath. Felt like a weak piece of shit, and I went home. Saturday, I go to work.
As soon as you move the keg, you're like, it's over?
Yeah. I put the keg in, I was like, ugh. Amanda comes over, she's like, you're really pale looking right now. I was like, yeah, I'm kind of out of breath right now. She's like, well, just go home. I was like, yeah, you're right. I should.
Did anybody else in your life get COVID but you? You got stranger COVID.
I left work Sunday, felt kind of bad Monday, felt terrible Tuesday. When I asked everyone at work, I was like, did anybody else feel this way? No one.
You got solo COVID.
Solo COVID, hey.
Solo COVID.
So
Bad name.
I think the government's putting it out in birds, which probably aren't even real.
I've never thought that birds were real, ever. Mm-hmm. So Saturday, I get to work, and I'm fresh body, fresh mind. No drink, no smoke. I was scared straight. So I get to work Saturday. I'd gotten up, so my circadian rhythm has completely flip-flopped. So I got up Saturday morning, probably like 7:30. Went and did some exercise. Tried to take a nap, but couldn't because, like I said, my whole thing is shifted. So I wake up early now, unfortunately. So I get to work. I'm still fresh-faced. I still feel great. And I walk into work. The game's on. I have an outlook that I don't typically have. I was like, everything's probably all right. Like I'm not expecting to be angry. I'm not expecting to be too busy. So I'm taking all comers. I'm like, hey, no matter how anyone else is feeling, I'm feeling pretty good right now.
You show up third quarter?
No, I showed up second quarter.
Oh, their morale was low, I'm sure.
The morale was very low at that moment. But mine wasn't. I was
Not
like,
Mr. Bluebird on my shoulder.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm such like, we're going to be all right guy. That I was like, look, we're going to be fine. It's early.
And I normally operate that way, especially about Georgia. I'm like, hey, we're going to be all right. And if we're not, guess what? 5 years ago, we were going through this all the time. Like,
yeah,
it is what it is. So the Georgia game is over. It all worked out for all the Georgia fans. So then I get the second wave of customers. And the second wave of customers is mostly like another set of college people that I'm like, aren't y'all in school right now? So it's sort of a lot of young drunk people.
Yeah.
And then it's a couple of regulars, but it's more non-regulars than regular. So this guy, this Darren, he's sitting there. He's trying to order from everyone except me, everyone that's walking by. He's like, hey, could I just get a pizza? So I was like, hey, buddy, I'm the bartender. I'll take care of you, whatever. He's kind of belligerent, kind of hard to understand him. He wants to order a pizza. So I get his pizza, and he's sitting there. He's not trying to order a drink because he's already, like, very drunk. I wouldn't have served him anyways. But he's kind of sitting there, like, not being completely belligerent to the people around him, but just sort of in his own bubble, being shitty. Lady walks up, Karen. She goes, hey, I was here 2 days ago, and the slice that them son bitches gave me was this and that. I want a slice like that guy's got over there. I want it to be crispy. I want it to be this, that. And with my calm energy, I was like, okay, I got you. I'll take care of that. I'm sorry you had that experience.
Yeah, whatever experience, yeah.
Yeah, whatever it was. I don't doubt that you're telling the truth. Like, you probably did have that experience. You're coming to me with this busted ass energy. Normally, I'd be like, fuck you, Karen. But right now, I'm like, whatever.
I'll placate the Karen.
I'll figure it out,
Extra crispy slice.
So I put in an extra crispy slice for her. She goes, what topping should I get? I told her the topping she should get. She was like, yes, that's exactly what I want. I was like, yeah, I knew it, Karen. She goes, can I get a Corona Light? Yes, got you. Lime? Yes, got you. Her boyfriend husband comes up. As he's walking up, the Darren that had already been sitting there was like, why didn't you like the pizza the other day? Their pizza's great. She's like, listen, don't talk to me right now.
About the same age?
No, she's like
She's his mom?
early 40s.
She could be his mom.
She could be his mom. He's early 20s. She's early 40s, maybe mid.
All right.
So they're chirping at each other.
About her not liking the pizza and
Exactly,
Darren
yes.
being drunkenly offended by it.
Darren's offended. She's defending herself. They are now, all the attention is on each other. So I'm just kind of, drinking this in a little bit. I was like, oh shit, is this deflecting into? So she ends up telling him, shut the fuck up and get away from me. And as she does that, husband or boyfriend walks up. Guy wanted to buck and not listen to her, but once boyfriend husband came up, he was like, all right, fine, I'll walk away.
Okay.
They deferred each other off. Husband comes up. He's like, did you get what you wanted from them, baby? Now she's already dealt with this other Darren. Now the boyfriend / husband, whatever. She's like,
being a little
she's like, honey, it's fine.
Darren-uous.
It's fine. He's going to take care of us. He orders Miller Lite, whatever. I'm still very bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. I was like, here you go. I hear dude talking shit the entire time. Like, you know they don't care if you get something good. You know they don't care what kind of thing you had the other day, what kind of situation you had the other day. I'm letting it go. The slice comes out. It's perfectly crisp. It's a larger than normal slice.
The perfect slice.
The toppings are spread evenly. And I didn't ask for any of this shit. You know what I mean? I just wrote a ticket.
You're getting that like 80% of the time, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And I was like, oh, look how well this worked out. Because she had a mirror of herself in that Darren that was sitting next to her.
Yeah, she's got the...
She realized that she was being that way. And now she wasn't going to allow that dude or her boyfriend to be that way at all. She's eating the slice. She's like, this is amazing. Her and boyfriend, they drink their beers. They eat the slice. They go to close out. I was like, hey, I'm going to take care of the slice for you because, you had that bad experience before. She was like, are you kidding me? I was like, no, like, what's a slice? I just want you to be happy. 100% tip. She walks away as happy as any Karen could have ever been.
So did Darren notice she was happy?
Darren was defeated
By her happiness?
by her happiness. And the thing was, he had ordered a pizza way before her, and it had come out, and I just didn't tell him that it was ready yet.
You wanted hers to get hers first?
I wanted her to get hers first.
Okay.
Because she came to the awareness that since she was
She
mirrored,
had a Karen epiphany. A Karen epiphany. I don't
There's
think
something there.
There's something there. Karen epiphany, Karen epiphany.
So the double negative closed out into being a positive. And I was like, look how things work sometimes. Because typically I would have interjected and been like, hey, listen, you doing all this isn't going to make the slice any better.
You're not helping anything here.
Yeah, you're not really.
And you're slowing down. You're getting your food. You just don't know it yet.
Exactly. You have no idea that you're on probation.
I bet you're hungry. This is what, Darren. You're not getting your food.
And I'll come back 5 times and be like, just 2 more minutes. Just 2 more minutes. I know it ain't 2 more minutes. I know it's going to be 10 more minutes.
You said that 5 minutes ago, Turkish.
2 minutes Turkish.
Well, yeah, whatever.
That's just do it.
Dude, fuck the wig, man. You don't need it.
Yep, I had to do one for the wig.
That's the best that wig's looked on you ever.
I tell you what, it actually fits pretty good upside down.
Ooh, that's nice. Yeah.
It's not. It's how the. Is it less itchy? It's less itchy upside down than it is right side up. Because this situation is not right side up. It's apparently black side out. So here's what happens. I go to work. It's Friday. Again, I have been dealing with some personal shit with Shay's situation. I finally go back to work.
That's your first day back at work. It was fun.
Yeah, and I slept like 3 hours, 5 hours up, 3 hours out. I'm not sleep. I'm tired. I'm running on more coffee than I've probably drank in a day. I don't know if I've ever drank as much coffee in a day. I probably had 2.5 cups of cold brew, which is a lot of caffeine for Clint. I had one, started getting ready for work, and was like, nothing happened with the first one. So then I poured one in my protein shake.
Didn't even bust the seal.
And then I drank an entire cup of coffee at work, which I would say is probably regular to have a cup of cold brew, and just chugged it, like, just give me life. And then I had a hot tea at 10 to get through the last bit of the night. And then my car was out of power stuff. Anyways, so I have a tape. I come in. People are a little friendly, whatever. It's slow start. I'm in the best section in the restaurant. It's the closing section. You've got 3 tables on the window. No other section has more than 2. So you're in a good spot. And it's like right in the middle. You can see out the river street. It's the perfect view is this middle table. So they sit the first table in the restaurant. Usually it goes to whoever gets there first. I'm getting petty dates. I'm getting the first table. So they put them in the middle of the room, the best table. It's a couple. They're an anniversary. They're from Charlotte. And as most wedding anniversary people do, they don't get a drink until like halfway through the meal. And they sipped together a single peach margarita. That's fine.
Like passing it back and forth?
Yeah, whatever.
Hey, whatever.
Look, it's going to take a lot to rattle me this day, or just the right thing to get me right in the spot, and I might stab someone. But I'm just so tired. I'm like, I don't care. I'm just going to do enough to keep my job today. You just have those days sometimes you're like, I'm just going to keep my job today. But everybody knows where I'm at in a headspace, so nobody is like overly pushy with me about anything.
Yeah, nobody's trying.
In the kitchen can see that I am not talking.
Yeah.
Like I'm oddly quiet until finally somebody mentioned it. But get my next table. It's a 2-top in the corner of the room. It's they're from Charlotte also, and I wanted to go people from Charlotte,
yeah.
but they were nice, but they were just having a hard time while they're sitting there. A 7-top gets sat in the room. It goes to an adjoining section. There's like around the corner or two. If you know the sections of this restaurant, you know where I work by now. It's in the gallery. I'm in freaking Genie. Here's some fucking clues for you. You probably could Google some of that. That's okay.
Or whatever.
Anyways, this wig is beautiful today. I get the 7-top sits down. The first couple leaves, while the second table that ordered a bottle of Moscato with ice in it. That's pouring it in later because who the hell drinks Moscato? Moscato's already watered down and sweet as shit. And we want some ice in there. And I'm like, okay, here you go. It's just you drink Moscato.
Isn't that like a dessert wine?
If it's made properly, it's a dessert wine, or it's if you're just trashy and you like trashy wine, usually. Some other like, you
or
like
if you
Moscato?
listen to Waka Flocka Flame, I'm a sip Moscato.
Yes. They probably listen to Waka Flocka Flame. Isn't he from North Carolina? I don't care. So the first couple gets up. There's only minutes in the room now. There's just these three tables of black people, two tops and a 7-top. Another table comes in. It happens to be a black table. I'm not thinking anything about this at all. And the new table is they're black women in their mid-60s, and they're a little trepidatious about a lot of things. But when I ID'd them, they're like, ha, and I had to be like, yeah, no, it's stupid. And then I had to, it was like the second longest explanation of the ID thing I've ever had to do. I just need your IDs. And they're like, ha, ha. I'm like, look, it's not a joke. I know, I think that sounds funny. I'm being kind of funny, and so they're laughing at me. I'm like, can I please have your driver's license?
Seriously.
I'm like, just show me something that looks like a card.
So that we can move on.
Literally just open your purse and shook it.
Yeah.
The cameras can only see so much. I know you're responsible, but I'm like, make sure you're carried. I mean, the whole thing. They order an appetizer, salad, and 2 entrees. The other table had gotten their appetizer and was had quarter way done with the Moscato. And the guy at the other table stands up and goes, he waves me over immediately. He's standing and waving. And I'm like, oh, so the table's on fire, obviously.
Yeah.
He's like, we don't like what's going on in here. We want to check right now. And I was like, is there a problem with the food? Have I done something wrong? And I'm supposed to go get a manager immediately, but I'm like, what did I do wrong? And he goes, you're putting all the white people in that room? You're putting all the black people in this room. And I went, huh? Now there's 4 rooms. He can only see one other one we were sitting, maybe a second one. So I kind of peeked around the corner, and there was a table he could not have ever seen, but it's a black 2-top, and I wanted to be like, well, there's one black table in that room, but I was like, I have very low evidence, where it's scientific process. So I go to the other room and look, 4 white tables. I'm like, all right, there's only 8, 9, 10, there's 12 tables in the restaurant. 5 of them are black. the rest are white, and then it just happens all the white people are in one room. However, all the white people are in what is considered the best room, and I'm just like, you know what? Bye, I'll be right back. One guy, the manager, was like, "This is what's going on." He's like, I was like, "I'm done with the situation now. You're the manager. You go talk to him. I'm gonna go cancel the food order, get a check for him. I do that, bring it up like, hey, do you want this bottle of wine to go?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, I was like, I'm not doing any of this.
Yeah, I'm not the host or the host.
I don't know. And the thing is, I want to be the host forgot what anyone looks like she's ever said. So she like looks at them again. She doesn't remember where they went.
And I hate to have to like even try and explain this to you, but that's not something that we do.
No one would do that. Like anywhere. I mean, I guess there's probably places people do it, but it's not like you're not gonna come across that in a River Street restaurant in Savannah, Georgia.
Sure,
you're in a high traffic.
But you're
area.
so taken aback by like that's not something you think about at all. So if someone brings that to you, you're like, oh.
So they tipped me 30%, but before he did, he goes, "Let me fuck up something else for you and go talk to these two ladies about it and tell them what he thinks is going on." So he's over there telling them what he thinks. So now one of the ladies isn't even speaking to me and is mugging me the whole time. And now, but they're both watching everything I do. And my managers were like, "Well,
and you can feel them.
Oh, I can
watching.
see her.
Yeah,
you can see all your. I notice her watching. So then I start standing where I can see her at every table. And I'm like, loudly IDing them and not being that funny with. I'm being mean to people because they're white now. But then also with what management's done, no more black tables in that room. So now, full correct, I guess. Because only now there's not a black server, so I can be like, "Hey, could you just take the table?" This lady's, I'm not. I can't make this better no matter what I do.
How has it come to this? But whatever. So,
the entrees come out. "How are your shrimp and grits?" She just looks at me. She doesn't say anything, and the kind of head movement or nothing. It looks back down, and they stopped eating when I walked. I'm like, "How's your salad?" The lady was like, "Fine." I'm like, "All right, you're doing something." So I go back to my table, and I'm doing everything. I'm like, "Hey, do you want a drink?" I'm like, I'm not in a good mood.
Yeah.
And so at most tables, I'm just very like okay, and then I'm like, "Hey, what up, girls?"
And what you think is going on isn't going on, but I'm still gonna go a little bit out of my way.
I know that I'm not turning this around. All I can do is put like a small Band-Aid on this giant knife wound in this woman's leg. And so I'm just kind of like, okay. And I finally go, I can only thing I can do about getting rid of this is like, y'all, and not do you want dessert? Do you want anything else? Do you want me to split the check, or do you want one check? And they go, and they just look at me. The woman's just, she's looking at me, but she's just. I'm just like, I can't.
There's nothing you can do.
No. So I punched her right in the fucking face. Bam! What about now, baby?
What about now, baby?
Yeah, that's what I can do. So when I got her off the ground, for hitting her in the face.
Once she gathered
I said, okay, split check. I had in my left pocket, split checks, my pocket, whole check. Print it, split it. I don't have to go back to the computer. I'm burning a little bit of paper. I don't care. So I'm like, here you go.
Which side did you think you were going to come on, the split check or the whole check?
Whatever made my life harder, so split check.
Fair enough.
That's fine. I was ready. If the same sex tables that all aren't together, if it's certain groups of people, women, a lot, almost all women, I'm asking, hey, you want to split? And I'll have it with me. Put the tables outside because I got to make a journey to get there. And by the way, this wig is not less itchy upside down. It takes longer. It's like creeper itch. It takes longer. Dude, it's kicking my ass.
Dude, lose it.
Yeah, I got to.
Lose it.
It's killing me. I was wrong. I made a mistake in life. Karen got me again. Karen, you itchy bitch.
I see what you're doing over there.
I see what you're doing over there. So, they won't pay the bill. But I notice out of Starin Karen's pocket comes a stack of Post-it notes in her purse. And now, I don't know about you ladies out there, but Kelly, do you carry Post-it notes in your purse?
No.
And when you're on vacation, of all trips, Post-it notes?
Post-it notes.
Maybe she likes to leave notes everywhere.
Or maybe like remind yourself to take your medicine or something. Like
yeah, there was a stack. So I'm like, okay, maybe she's making a note about something later. But her friend has her credit card out immediately. She does not. Purse on table, no credit card. So I keep kind of like peeking, and I want him gone, and I don't want to give him an excuse. But well, he took forever. So I'm like, I'm moving to get to them.
Staying there, being diligent.
I'm doing what I can, and like this time I have 5 other tables. I'm busy, but I'm like, Karen's my focus. And I know this $45 tab ain't going real high. I see some cash coming out finally, and I'm like, do you need change? She stares at me, and she gave me like coins and stuff too. And so I was like, all right, I'm just not gonna bring it back. The lady checked out. Y'all have a great day, ladies. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week. I'm doing, whatever. She just stares at me. Karen Starin. Just can't
Karen,
stop.
Karen.
So they leave, and I rush to the table because I see on the table is the Post-it note. And here is what the Post-it note says. It is taken over by the sign.
Shut up.
It is.
Hey, here
There we go. There we go.
is what the Post-it note says.
Read it.
So for those of what is happening? It's
There-
facing it.
there.
Oh no! The best laid plans of my son.
Just read it out.
No. It says, the mess you are pulling will come back to haunt you in the future. It'll go, this is going to be involved in my little weekly thing I do on the Instagram and Facebook page. So if you want to see it, go there. But like I said, the mess you were pulling, that's you all, not y'all. I don't remember where they were from, but obviously not here. The mess you all are pulling will come back to haunt you in the future.
So you sent me a picture of that Post-it note the other night.
She got very nice handwriting. Three exclamation points, too.
This is like Unfortunate Cookie. You know?
Unfortunate cookie.
Episode name is Unfortunate Cookie.
Or Starin, Karen. I don't know.
Starin Karen's unfortunate cookie.
Wow. Yeah,
Write it down. We're going to forget it.
You're
Starin
gonna die
Karen's
at a
unfortunate
traffic
cookie.
light.
Here's a little inside baseball for you.
God.
We constantly will be like, that's the name of the episode. And we get done, we're like, what the fuck were you talking about? And then we can't ever find it again.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Jot that one down.
So fucking Karen.
Because-
So she leaves a note. So I am proud of this note. I am busy. Okay, I got shit to do. I got an outside table. I'm fucking busy. But I've been made aware of the we're only sitting black people in this room situation, and everybody in the front of the house. And they're like, don't tell the back of the house yet. I'm like, because there's also black guys back there. It's not. They know what's going on up there. It's not like that. No one cares about that. So I go around showing everybody the Post-it note. And everyone's like, hold on. I'm like, no, this is mine. This is mine. I'm putting this on my fridge.
Do not take this
Oh,
from
yeah,
me.
that's a keeper. Absolutely.
Well,
Regardless.
this restaurant I worked at the other day on River Street has an HR department. So the GM comes back to work. When she heard about the table, she was on the way home and turned around and came back and was like, I'm just going to be upstairs in case something hits the fan.
Oh, she thought there would be like retaliation later
She
on.
called HR to report it to them like this is happening. She wanted to make them aware, like that's the best way. Get ahead of it,
Sure.
in case there's an online review. So that way HR is looking at online reviews over the next 24 to 48 hours aggressively to see if this comes up because you want to get on that immediately.
What's really weird, though, is the guy that, inverted commas, tipped them off to the mess that y'all were
Tipped
doing.
me.
Still
Well,
tipped you 30%.
Because it's not me. But the other ladies were like, it must be this guy. And, but the thing is, I said,
So Buddy realized it wasn't, well,
I mean, you got to have his bill taken care of. I was nice. And the Starin Karen tipped me $5 cash. $5 even on 45 on cash, minus the 4 pennies I throw into the street. I don't like motherfucking pennies. Give me fucking pennies. I throw them in the street. I might toss a nickel out there too. Homeless people will get that shit later. I just don't want to carry it around. I mean, I wouldn't put it in the restaurant.
I want that jingle jangle.
I don't want to deal with pennies, period. Unless they're going, unless they're ass pennies. And there's a throwback. You know what ass pennies are? If you know what fucking ass pennies are, and you leave it in the comments, you can get Paxton a hug next time you see him.
I always thought just your butthole was a dirty penny anyway.
Yeah, it is. It tastes like copper. That's why.
I can't taste
If
anything.
it tastes like
anymore.
copper, that means there's blood in there.
I can't taste
If
anything
someone's
anymore.
butthole tastes like copper, they need to see a doctor. That means there's blood in there.
I can't even
I'm so
taste
glad I
this
came back
Chardonnay.
this week.
I can't. I'm too drunk to taste
Can
this
of
chicken.
Chardonnay. So, they have like to be 20%. So, the manager goes, so I've shown her on the Post-it note. She goes, I need that Post-it note. I was like, I'm not giving it to you. She goes, I'll give it back to you. And I was like, you got to give it back to me or I will haunt you.
Just take a picture of it, man.
I know. Well, I took a picture, but
Don't tell her to take a picture.
I
of
know.
it.
So, so I'm like, the haunt you part really got me. So I'm walking around all night. And people are like, get out of my way. I'm gonna haunt you.
I might show back up.
I'm white like a ghost.
when you're closing tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna unplug your car battery.
The most haunted city in America just got more haunted.
Maybe Karen's one of my questions like, take that. I think if you thought I was the head Klansman of the situation, and you went to go to sabotage my car because you someone knew what my car was, you woke up and be like, Nominus will slide. That car is broke. Now if the other car was there,
Yeah.
it might be getting spray painted. But it's such a. I mean, I'm going to put it on. I'm going to get it flattened out nice and put it on the fridge with a magnet on it and look at it, and it's going to make me smile, and I'm not feeling great. Maybe I'll put it on my mirror in the bathroom.
Hey, like a morning affirmation.
Yeah, I'm going negative. It's that, remember demotivators, the memes? There's posters back in the day. They'd be like up here, they'd be like, remember how hard you try, you're not the best at all. Or, it's like,
don't hang in there. You're just going to fail.
You're not a
keep
princess.
Keep working out. Keeping your skin clean, you're still ugly. Whatever those little things were. But
all that weight you lost, you're still ugly.
Yeah. Karen, I appreciate it, Karen, but Jesus, Karen.
Hey, you got to find the positives, man. You got to find the positives.
And then I want to give a shout out to Sydney, Rob's girlfriend. Sydney works at the Windrose and sells real estate here. Find her at sydneysellsrealestate.com. I made that up. I don't know if that's that website at all.
Close enough.
We talked about I have a note that says Sydney skinny margarita complaint. And Sydney, I told you, I would either remember the story or I would go, what does this line mean? But at least I know who you are, and I know what Skinny Margarita is, and we just talked about complaints. And so, I think you know what? Aha! It came to me like a Karen in the late afternoon. How do you make a skinny, Kelly, what do you think's in a Skinny Margarita?
Not a lot of tequila, I imagine.
So that's not it's the same amount of tequila. And I do soda and lime. Just lime, not like lime juice.
If someone asks me for a skinny,
Yeah.
I still do tequila and triple sec.
But just a little bit.
Yeah, just a tiny bit of triple sec, and then a literal splash of sour, and the rest soda.
Yeah, so you just lighten up all the ingredients.
Yeah, I just pull back everything except the tequila and mostly soda.
I figured you would pump the brakes on the tequila and everything else.
No, that would be a light margarita.
Okay.
Yeah.
Skinny,
skinny just means
weak.
take out anything that has a lot of sugar.
Well, I talked about the Karen.
okay.
I think it was last podcast with the Karen with the margarita, Skinny Margarita, like yelling at me about how to make it. But that we talked about that, and she said, "Oh well, I was told you make it with Sprite, peach instead of triple,
What?
and lemons instead of lime."
Right.
What?
Yeah.
What?
No.
That's not skinny. That's
Another
just a
drink.
flip-flop
That's another
margarita.
drink.
yeah. That's a whole nother.
That's a cocktail.
That's a whole nother cocktail.
That's Timmy's margarita.
that you can name yourself.
You never had a Fort Lauderdale salad slide?
That might be the episode name now.
Fort Lauderdale salad slide, son.
That's brought to you by marijuana right there. The Fort Lauderdale salad slide.
Tell us your ingredients in a skinny margarita.
Is that a sex move? I took that girl home and got some Fort Lauderdale salad slide. I gotta write that down.
An Ocala O-bomb right there, brother.
There's something to do with that. I don't know what, but that is good. Well, if you like a good Fort Lauderdale salad slide, stick around for our Patreon.
Stick around for the Patreon. We love you guys. Thank you
Patreon.com
/ from behind the barcast. Thank
Please
you guys
subscribe. We just lost one subscriber. We need him back. So he was just in case you can do the open enrollment thing. He was doing $7,000 a month. Thank you. We appreciate it.
We love you, and please stick around for the Patreon if you're already subscribed.
We're gonna talk shit about that girl I mentioned earlier because this bitch asked about Shay's thing. Okay, she knows Shay. And I said, yeah, I saw a comment about him being something, and I was like, oh, yeah, when Henry, I was like, Henry, our friend of ours who's a lot older than me and Shay, I said, if Henry was going to outlive Shay, who had that on their bingo card? And she goes, Henry, and proceeds to send me a quarter of War and Peace and 3 texts about her baby daddy's family and parents, because his name is Harry and not Henry, and she wanted to just unload this information on somebody. Then when she saw a H and a Y, she was like, let's go. And like, I messaged back, holy crap, that's a lot of stuff. And I was like, I can't deal with this right now. I got
You
too much
didn't say
going
that
on.
was a lot of sandwich? That's a missed opportunity.
She doesn't know what that means.
It doesn't matter.
And I may have
I
said
wanted
that.
to say it too.
I may have said that to her. I don't know. I don't know what I've said a lot of things in the last couple of days. But I'm like, whoa. And then she goes, oh my God, I thought you said Harry. And then goes, here's 6 more pages of War and Peace.
Shut up.
And I'm like, and so I'm not opening it. Because you open it on Facebook and someone knows you've seen it. I know if you've sent me one and I haven't opened it, I may have seen it. And I've seen some, and sometimes I get lost. But like sometimes I'll just look at it and go, I have 2 messages to say, what happened to Shay? I ain't opening those.
I'm not opening those fucking things.
Or one guy was who I hate. It was one of Shay's friends. I'll tell you about this guy on the podcast, on the Patreon. This is worthwhile. This is I'm gonna gonna get real mean for a second.
Yeah, let's get mean, baby.
You want to do it now, or
No, I was talking about beating up a lawn guy, so you know.
We'll save it for the Patreon. Hey, we love you guys. Thanks for sticking around. Sorry we were out last week, but shit happens, and we'll see y'all on the Patreon.
And Mir next week.
And we're next week.